I woke up to a very snowy scene this morning, and while I'm very happy to, see the beautiful snow, it's winter here in Long Island, beautiful season out here, I hate shoveling. So I figured while I'm still nice and warm and cozy, before I go out and go shovel my car out of the snow, I would record this video and talk about some of my favorite photos from 2025. Now, 2025 has been a very weird year for me. I mean, I did a lot of client work, which is great, but I didn't do a ton of personal work. And I think it just comes from the fact that because I was doing so much client work, I just didn't have the time or necessarily the interest in taking the camera out a lot in my free time. But, when I took my trip to Japan and to Vermont in August, I kind of had that revitalization of my love for photography. And, I had been focusing so much on videography for my client work, I kind of forgot how much I loved just taking a photo, just taking one still. So I decided that I would make this video and show off my favorite stills from the year. So to start off, let's look at this beautiful sunset from Lake Willoughby in Vermont. Now, this photo is just honestly stunning. The fact that I took this on an iPhone is kind of crazy. I did do a fair amount of editing to it. I did try to really drop those shadows, really make that a nice silhouette. I just wish I was using a regular camera for this so I can get a little bit more detail on the water. I feel like it's a little grainy, but I think that's mostly due to the fact that just iPhones do that. You zoom in with an iPhone and suddenly the image just degrades itself. But I am really happy with the way that the colors came out here. I really feel like they actually really blend in super well. It's just a beautiful sunset. I only had to touch it a little bit with saturation. I really did not go overboard. I did not change the colors either. This is as I saw it through the camera. I did not do any crazy, calibration editing or anything. So I really like this photo. That was one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen. And I'm really happy that I was able to capture that in this frame. And then also on top of that, I was able to get this person who decided to go fishing right as the sun was going down, which I thought was absolutely stunning. And I think that's going to be a common theme in a lot of the photos that I show you today, which is, the photo itself is good, but the scene and being there, getting that experience is, I think, what makes this photo so much fun to me, because I remember taking this picture. I remember standing next to Alex and his family. They were having a couple of drinks. We had a fire going. It was beautiful. And I think that part of photography is actually my favorite part of photography and why a lot of these pictures stood out to me. So here's another iPhone photo that I took of Penny. I'm a little upset that the phone focused on the sail and instead of focusing on Penny. There was nothing I could really do. This was hey, let me just take my phone out really quick and take a picture. But that being said, I love the composition of it. I love that we have a couple of different angles going on here. We have the boat that's coming out from this bottom left-hand corner of the image. Then we have the sail that's kind of taking up, a good half almost of the photo. And then we also have Penny with her arm out. So we have a bunch of different lines here. And I just really like the way the composition is. And I just like the colors on it. I may go back and retouch this slightly, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. So here's another Vermont photo, again on an iPhone, and this was taken at the top of a mountain during a different sunset, actually. And we went up with my fiance Alex and his cousin Mary. We went up to the top. She goes, I have this place I have to show you. And this is the point in the trip where I realized I should have brought my camera and not an iPhone. The amount of regret that I have doing that, I sometimes can't sleep at night. But I guess I'm just going to have to go back and bring my camera again next time. But I took this photo of this person sitting on top of the rock right as the sun started setting. And I really liked composing it this way because I liked having the rocks kind of separate and almost in a little triangle, and then you just have this beautiful sunset in the back. But they're looking off to the right, because what you don't know is to the right of this photo, the sunset is even more beautiful. And I just kind of like that, it's almost kind of like this person is looking forward and they have all these things in the past, but they're looking forward and you don't know what they're looking at. Maybe that's a little bit too in-depth. I don't know, it's just a photo, but that's kind of how I saw it. And I don't know, I feel like the composition kind of fits that, so that's why I really like it. But I also like it because I thought the greens came out pretty good, and the sunrise, it's pretty clean. One issue that I have with iPhones is sometimes with sunsets specifically and really bright colors, the contrast gets kind of bad between the bright colors going into the more milky and subtle neutral colors. And that has happened in a bunch of photos that I took of the sunrise and the sunset, but not in this photo. And I think that actually came out pretty good. Once again, we have another photo from Vermont, and I really like this one because the colors are just fantastic. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, listen, the composition is nothing special. I'm not gonna sit out here and be like, oh yeah, I composed it this way, to get this. That's just how I composed it. I've seen this photo 1,000 times. I'm sure you have as well. But there's just something about the colors here that feels so like creamy. I don't know how else to describe it. I just really, really liked it. And then with the boat here too, I don't know. I love this photo. And again, I wish I had my Sony a7 IV for this, because if I would have had it for this shot, this would easily be something that I could print and not have to worry about the quality. Unfortunately, with this photo, the second that you zoom in, you see that it's an iPhone quality photo. I mean, a lot of things are out of focus. It's, for some reason, this focused on the beginning of the bridge. And, for a digital image, I think it's totally fine. But this is something that, like, printing it, I would feel really, really weird doing so and a little bit guilty. It's a shame. But I think as far as an iPhone photo goes, this is pretty good. And again, I just remember being there for this scene and it really meant a lot to me. So that's why I decided to put this one in one of my favorites for the year. So this was the first photo I took on the, I guess, first real day of Japan. This was taken in the morning. This is actually a sunrise, not a sunset. And Alex is sleeping behind me. And, we were jet lagged because, we got there at like, I don't know, I think we landed at like 5-ish, 4:45, 5 p.m. And then by the time I got to the hotel and like 8 and then, came back to the hotel ready for bed, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock and we were just wiped out. So we went to bed super early. And I ended up waking up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's funny, I actually took the blackout sheets and I like pulled them open just slightly and it like instantly blinded me. And then it also instantly blinded Alex, who was sleeping, and he got grumpy because it's like 5:30 a.m. and I'm taking this photo. So I had to open that up, but then I realized there's also like a thin, like white, like almost lace layer behind it. So I had to open that too, and he starts grumbling in the bed, and I'm like, Alex, deal with it, because this is going to be a beautiful shot. And I just take my phone, and I stick it behind, and I'm like blind shooting photos. So I'm like basically like this, just taking photos. I'm like, I hope one of them came out good because I don't want to look at the sunrise. I know Alex is tired, and I took 3 photos or 4 photos, and this was the best one. I probably could rotate this a little bit more and get it perfect, but I actually like it being a little bit like not quite level because of the nature of me taking this photo, because I was kind of taking it blind. So this was taken inside one of the Team Lab Presents. I forget which one we went to, but I think it was Planets, maybe? And, for this exhibit, you're supposed to lay down and have these, like, leaves go all around you. It's like one of those, like, IMAX domes. So you're supposed to lay down and have them float around you. And Alex, I guess, stood up and was like, okay, it's time to go. And I'm, like, looking up at him, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Snap. And this is what we got. And I love it because it's simple, but it looks like he's part of the whole exhibit, and it looks really cool having the lights on him. I like the colors. Looks cool. I remember when this photo was taken, we were hiking to the temple in Kamakura, and it's hard to see here, but there's actually a path. I think you can see my mouse, yeah. So this path starts like down here, and you have to climb up this really, really high mountain, and I'm out of shape. It's 98 degrees. 110% humidity. I mean, it's bad. And so we're climbing up here and we have to stop along the way. And we get up here and granted, this path is actually not that long. It's just, we're tired, we're hot, and I'm overweight. So this was really tough. So we get to the top, which is right behind us, actually. We're actually on our way back down in this photo. And what's funny is Alex's arms are kind of out. And it kind of looks like he's almost like, wow, like I'm taking in this whole experience and like I'm amazed and like this is beautiful, like almost shocked. But what's really going on in this photo is there are 2 killer bees right in front of us, the killer hornets, whatever those things are called. And Alex doesn't know if he's allergic to bees and he doesn't want to find out. So he actually is walking down and he's like, we gotta go. So he jumps and then he runs forward, right? Now, I'm back here with the camera still, and I'm like, oh my God, there are these 2. And I mean, here's the thing. I don't like bees. I don't like bugs, whatever. But these hornets were unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, these things were literally the size of half my palm. I mean, I could see the stingers from where I was at. Like, that's how crazy it was. So I'm like, I'm at the top of this mountain in Japan, and I can't speak Japanese. And not that I'm allergic to bees, but that looks like it's really going to hurt. So I also need to run down past these. So he runs down and he goes and I'm like, Alex, I can't. Eventually I just go. But that's why I chose this photo. Here's another photo from earlier in the path. Is it earlier or later? Actually, this might be towards the end. And I just really like this photo. And I don't know why, honestly. This is probably my favorite photo I took from Japan. And I think it's just because we feel so ingrained in nature here. I like the way the light's hitting his face. He's looking up at me. He's not centered. And he's looking up at me, but like everything beautiful is behind him. Maybe he's looking at me because I'm beautiful. I don't know. That was a joke. But I don't know. I just really, really like this photo. And this is something that I would love to print if it didn't look like absolute dog water the second I zoomed in and looked at it. 'Cause, truthfully, Alex actually is pretty, in focus. It's pretty clean, But again, it's something with the iPhone. Whenever it has to take these like intricate details, it just doesn't hold up well. Here's a photo that I shot from actually down below. And I really liked it just because I like this one compositionally. I feel like there's a lot of motion happening here. We have the motion of him walking, but we also have the motion of these little, I don't want to use the word flag because they're not a flag, but I guess ribbons. What's the right term for it? I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. These red like flags and ribbons that are flowing through the wind. We had like a huge gust of wind come through here. And I just feel like there's a lot happening, even though it's a still image. And I really like that there's all that motion attached to it without actually, having any motion. And it's one of those pictures where I actually hear it in my head when I look at it. I hear the bells from the temple. I hear the flaps. I hear the walking up the steps. And I think that speaks a lot to the image itself. Okay, so now we're finally done with the iPhone photos. Thank goodness. We're going to hop into some A74 photos. So these were from my friend Chris, MCCB. He is a rapper. He was having a album release party in Brooklyn a few months ago. So he asked me to come take some photos, and this is one of my favorites. I actually have a couple that I'm going to show you from this day. The reason why I like this one is because it shows you the connection between his son and him. And that's actually why I chose multiple of the photos that I'm about to show you. But I really wanted to capture that going into this project because, his son's getting older. I mean, he's young, but Chris has been trying to build up this career to help support his family on the side. And he has talked to me a lot about feeling that pressure of being like, hey, I'm a full-time worker. I'm a father. I'm a husband. And I'm trying to build up this career on my side, on the side. And he feels kind of like that pressure of like, hey, like I keep putting these projects out. I have to make something stick. I have to make something work. And I just think that this was like a powerful image when you have that story in the back that he's doing it for him and he's doing it for himself too, but he's doing it for his family. And when I showed up to this event and I saw that his son was there, I immediately was like, I'm going to capture the still of his connection with his son while he's performing. So his son started dancing and it was really, really cute. And I loved it. And here's another one too, right? He's putting down his glass. He's got the music playing and his son is just screaming and singing along. He doesn't know the words, but I just love that he's just like in motion. He's being part of this moment. And then Chris is just here enjoying it. And I thought that really spoke volumes, I thought. He has like a genuine smile on here, seeing his son enjoying his music. And I think that's really, really impactful. So a few weeks later, I went to a pumpkin patch with my friend Rachel. She's the one that runs the Better with Butter Bakery, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But her son Lucas was looking really adorable in his little overalls. So we did a little photo shoot with him in the pumpkin patch, and it was adorable. And it's funny because, I delivered a bunch of photos to Rachel. I think I gave her like 40 photos and was like, hey, here you go. Post them on your social media. Do what you want with it. It's always funny seeing what people choose for their social media or to share with family for holiday cards or whatever it is, because my favorite photos weren't the ones that she chose. And I think it's because I shot a few of them a little bit more artsy, that I think somebody who has an eye for photography would appreciate a little bit more than just somebody who, just wants a generic photo. And that's no shot at everybody. I think it's just people's taste is different, right? Like this is objectively not a great photo. There's something in front of his face. Right? If you're just looking to post pictures of your son from the pumpkin patch, I'm not sure why you would choose this photo. But I love this one because I loved taking this photo. I loved seeing it in the moment, putting something in the foreground that he's looking at. And you don't even know really what he's looking at. You can kind of interpret that this is some sort of horse. You don't know if it's real or not. Spoiler alert, it's not a real horse. But I don't know. I just thought it was pretty cool. I just thought it was interesting. And he's looking up and he's pointing. And compositionally, I really like it, especially with the, the reins coming off in the corner and then him looking up at the corner. I just thought the lines came out pretty good on this one. This is one that I really, really like. I love the way that the framing is on the bottom. I'm upset that her foot is here, and I tried to remove it, and I just can't do it. But hopefully it's not noticeable enough. I feel like when I look at this image, because his face is so bright and he's looking at you, I don't really see the foot immediately. That's just more of a pet peeve of mine. But I really like the loop from the bottom. You have these shadows on the side, and then he's just looking at me being like, what is this? And I just love it. And he's in the middle of a pumpkin patch. I don't know what the photo is saying to me. I haven't figured that out yet. But I know I like the photo. And I think that's what matters the most. So talking about Better with Butter, which I mentioned earlier in the video, this client is very interesting to me because I've never taken food photography before, which is also something that, I can get into at a later time. But to sum it up, I've been really looking to expand my skill set in photography and try new things instead of just slapping a label on myself and saying, I'm an event photographer and that's all I do. I think it's important to shoot a variety of different things to keep you interested and keep you learning how to do new things, new techniques, become a better photographer, better videographer, and stuff like that. So when Rachel approached me to take some photos for her, I took this as a new challenge because I've never done this before. And so this isn't even the first shoot I've done with her, but this was the first shoot I did that had a full light setup. I thought this one was just really cool. This one also was really, really fun. You have that action shot with the milk. Let me tell you something, that took us a while to get. But once we did get it, I was very, very happy with everything. So yeah, this photo was tricky because, first I was like, well, let me see what happens if I just drop the cookie in there. But the cookie was too big, so we had to cut the cookie in half. And then I realized, this doesn't have enough mass to be able to create that big splash. So we took Rachel's pocket knife, which was, about yay big, and we wrapped it, we put it in a Ziploc bag and closed it, and then we wrapped it in cellophane and just dropped it in. And it just immediately made this big splash, and we were like, oh, that's how they do it. So the last photos I'm going to show you, I don't have in Lightroom because they're in a separate catalog, but I want to go on my website really quick and show you some of my absolute favorites from the year, from the TCG show that happened in May. So this is my big client. This is my main client, Rebecca. She gives me a bunch of work throughout the year. I do event work for her. So I do photos and videos and stuff like that. And I really feel like this year for the TCG show, I've shot a bunch of her shows. I really feel like I stepped up to the plate for both May and November of the year actually previous. So a couple of these are actually from the November of 24, but most of these are from June of 25. And those are the ones I really want to show you because I feel like it really shows an elevated sense of eye or skill. I don't know how you want to describe it, from me going from even just the year before to now. So this photo in particular is one of my favorites because I just love that everybody's doing this pose. I shot it a little bit low and everybody's just having a good time. And to me, that's the most important thing. This is probably top 3 favorite photos of the year for me, and I'll tell you why. This voice actress here, Veronica Taylor, is my childhood, and everybody else here, their childhood as well. She is the voice of Ash Ketchum, the original one from the Pokemon anime in the 90s. And she ended up leaving the show, I believe, in the early 2000s, and Sarah Natacheni took over, who I also met at the TCG show. But she's the original voice actress. And not only did she shape the childhood for me and a bunch of other millennials, but a lot of other younger kids grew up knowing Ash, knowing those original Orange Islands episodes, the original Indigo League and stuff like that. So if you're not a nerd, I probably sound like an idiot. But the point is that this is a very high profile voice actress, probably top 2 most profile voice actors we've had, maybe top 3, come to this show. And we've had plenty of voice actors come. So what I love about this is you can tell that she's genuinely enjoying herself meeting this father, I'm assuming his father, who probably is internally geeking out, being like, I'm meeting a star of my childhood. And she's looking at him enjoying it, and he's looking at his son who's looking at me. And I just feel like this moment is just such a beautiful moment that sometimes I even get a little bit like choked up, like looking at it, because I'm like, I don't know how I captured this. And another important part, and this is probably more personal, but right behind them, you actually see my friend Freddie and his son Lucas, who, as you know, is the Lucas that I just showed you earlier from the pumpkin patch. So this is Rachel's husband and her son. And so seeing this, it really just elevates the photo for me. And I don't know, this might be my favorite photo of the year, if I'm being honest with you. Not even just from like a technical point, because I don't think there's anything special going on. I think it's just what I captured. And I think I'm not a very technical person anyway with photography, so to me, it's the content that matters the most. And to me, this one probably had the most impact on me. And riding off of that, I also have this photo right here, which again, there's nothing too crazy about it. We have Jay Getty here taking a photo on his iPhone of a tattoo from Ed. So for those who don't know Ed, he actually shows up to almost all the LITCG shows, and he makes wood carvings of popular Pokemon that the voice actors play. So for example, he made a wood carving of Mewtwo for Jay Getty here, and Jay is the original voice actor from Mewtwo, I believe. If he's not the original, he's one of the more prominent ones. And Ed told me that Jay is one of his idols, like of all time. So this meant a lot to me because I know how much this meant to Ed. And I know this photo of him looking at me, taking a photo of Jay taking a photo of him, definitely made Ed's day. And to me, that's what makes this photo so special. Here's a photo I took of Jen Wunner at the concert at the LITCG show. Now, this photo, again, has nothing too crazy going on, but I have to tell you, I think this really captured Jen Wunner's performance super well. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know who he was before this show. He's known for Big Man Blastoise on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, so I didn't know who he was. He was so nice. Like, I was talking to him before and after the show, and he's a sweetheart. He's actually really, really nice. And so when he got on the stage and he went like performance mode, he was like a completely different guy. Like, his performance was electric. I didn't know any of his music, and I was getting really, really into it. So when I got this action shot of him pointing, I felt like I really captured his essence of his performance. And then I also got the nice shot of the Big Man Blastoise on his shirt. So I thought that was pretty cool, especially for somebody who doesn't take a lot of concert photography. I thought this one was pretty good. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for my favorite photos of 2025. Let me know what you think of this down below. Let me know what your favorite photo was. Did you agree with me on any of the photos? Do you see something a little bit different than I did? I really like these kinds of videos because I like explaining a lot of my thought process and how I created something, or like what I was seeing, because a lot of times people see things differently than me, and I like having that kind of, discussion about it. So thank you guys so much for your support in 2025. Seriously, I am looking to push this channel forward in 2026, so you'll be seeing a lot more of me. If you have anything you want me to talk about, also leave it down in the comment section below and I will take a look gladly. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great new year, and I will see you next year.